be in the message of God every day, but, really honor him on this day. What God do you pray to? I pray to God. I talk to God directly. But then I work with all the ascending masters who are your gods. So, whatever. I'm not your god. I'm your goddess. I'm God in the female form. I show a different layer of him, like all gods did. In order to keep up with me, you would have to catch what I post on my community page and all videos leading up to this. I'm starting this right away. I usually don't do these type of things till about 11. I woke up feeling kind of funky, literally, like bubble guts and shit. I don't feel so good. I don't know what I ate or didn't eat. I always look at these things as alchemical transformation when I start feeling funky out of nowhere, because it really lasts for just a minute and then disappears. Let's see. What happened? Tweet and delete? Tweet and delete. Obviously tweeted and deleted. I have struck a nerve in somebody and they... Why'd he do it? Because he gave away half his song. His songs are fucking nothing, dude. Hook, verse, hook, verse, hook. So if he gives you the fucking first verse, and he gives you the fucking hook, and gives you another verse, there's no reason for you to pre-save the fucking song. He's an idiot. Anyways, and then I wake up and then Allie's like, alright, I'm finally ready to be like this idiot. I'm going to be like this idiot. I am ready to do music every Friday like this idiot. I'm like, oh God, help me, Jesus, I can't. I'm not going into the darkness with you guys. I am calling on all gods. In the essence, I don't want to deal with you today. I'd rather just do my job. You are not my job. You are beyond hopeless. There is a message to be said in that, and that's what I told Ellie. I've told him for a long time, he can't do what Russ did. You can't do what other people do expecting to get their results. And in essence, if the best case scenario, you copy them to the fullest, you're only going to be as good as them. Russ is good enough for you? I go back to my original statement. Are you gay? Why are you so on his dick? This is what started it all, and that's where we got into a big old fight about it. It's like, you are just putting so much on this dude. Anyways, going back to, so that was frustrating. It's like, you have to catch my video last night to understand how frustrating it is that you invest so much into a person that doesn't invest into themselves, that invests in being another person that you told them is no good. They anyways. And then to top it off, he makes terribly, annoyingly tragic songs. So it's like attracts like. In the sense of nothing good is coming. You're just going to get a bunch of already broken, heartbroken people like yourself. These are people that don't get out of their bed, probably don't have a job, aren't going to afford tickets to come see you. Who wants to be in a crowd of people like that? I just don't get it. Anyways, last week we had gotten so many books about religion. I have so many books about religion. Well, let's start first with him, our Savior. We were reading out of the Message Bible because it's easy peasy for people to understand. I do have the New King James down there with my name and all of my notes, but this is for beginners. All of this, we're trying to, begin you into the walk of it. All right, Luke, I am your father. All right, stop it. Anyways, we were talking about, I told everyone, in order to understand the Holy Bible, you just got to read through Romans or Ephesians. The New Testament, anyways. No, the Old Testament, full of fun and wonder, dude. Unbelievable shit that God did in the times before Jesus. Jesus said it all over, or set it all free, though. He started new times for us. If you want to understand it, you read all of Romans chapters, and all of Ephesians. Those are the letters that Paul sent to these communities to tell them about the works of Christ. It was just an absolute blueprint of what happened and what, the rest of the Bible is just other people's, witness. The Bible is nothing more than the witness of him who witnessed for us. He proclaimed the days that were to come. It's crazy. That's all we do around here is talk about each other. So we're picking up in Romans. I'm not really sure. I had two put down here. Let me see. Give me a second. Because we were in chapter 5. Give me a second. Well, we're going back to Adam and his... I like this story. I don't want to read too much. I think we stopped over here because we were talking about, putting your trust into God. Christ arrives on time and makes things happen. He didn't and doesn't wait for us to get ready. He presents himself for this sacrificial death when we we read all about this. So we're going to move on to chapter 5, verse 12, and I'll let you know where we stop. The death-dealing sin and the life-giving gift. You know the story how Adam landed us in this dilemma we're in. First sin, then death. No one exempt from either sin or death. That sin disturbed relations with God in everything, and I told you this. I'm going to talk about this. And everyone. But the extent of the disturbance was not clear until God spelled it out in detail to Moses. So death is a huge abyss separating us from God. Dominated the landscape from Adam to Moses. Even those who didn't sin precisely as Adam did by disobeying a specific command of God still had to experience the termination of life, this separation from God. But Adam, who got us into this, also pointed ahead to the one who will get us out of it. Okay. They felt it. And that's something, the separation. I mean, you don't know God. You're born with an unknowing of him. You're not connected to him. You've left God to become the human, right? And your job is to find your way back to him. Is how that works. But in the Old Testament, no, they knew that they had it was easily taught. We have sinned against God. They ran from God. They feared God and they ran from God. In essence, you know what I mean? It's like only Jesus was going to get them out of this. Yet the rescuing gift is not exactly parallel to the death-dealing sin. If one man's sin put crowds of people at the head and abyss of separation from God, what is it? You separated yourself, right? So what happens when you sin? You hide. You run. When you do something bad, what do? You try to hide it. You try to run from it. You don't come clean. You don't come to God and tell him what you've done. You run from him because you know that you've done something he asked you not to do. In the essence, everybody runs around with God's going to kill me. My dad's going to kill me. My dad's going to kill me if he finds out what I did. Your dad was there when you did it, dude. He tempted you to do such things. Why? Character development. There's nowhere you can really run where God isn't. And that's what the funny thing was, is they thought they could get to a place where they could be themselves and God wouldn't persecute them. He wouldn't find them. They could do whatever they wanted without God. But God kept showing he was always there. God was very corporal punishment. The softer side was Jesus. Jesus was the soft side of God. Our God? Oh, shit. And that's it. It's like you can't dig deep enough in that Old Testament to really understand. You just see him as a, you know what I mean, as a virtuous, you know what I mean, vengeance God. Jealous, controlling, possessive. There was no to be had. You didn't say no to God. He would hunt you. He would find you, just like he did Paul. He got him when he was all alone by himself and took away his sight. He knows exactly how to get you. Why does he do this? Because he loves you. He's willing to do anything to get to you. He is... I can't really explain it because we don't have men in our lives that would do such a thing, but it's a father's love, bro. He will go to no ends to find you. You know what I mean? And that was Demeter. I don't care about this world. I want my daughter back. Let everything in this world burn until I get my daughter back. Now, the real intriguing story about this is not one group is more important than one lamb. He will sacrifice that whole group to go get that one lamb. Their obedience really doesn't mean much. This whole group that have always listened to him, that stay in his thing, if he has to put fire to this group to find where his missing lamb is, he'll burn them down too. He wants the fallen. He wants the ones that are missing. That's what you don't get. I'm seeing it. It's like, they're his children, every single one, and he's watching all of them at the same exact time. I'm no more important than you. And in essence, I could sit here like Lucifer and say that you favored them than us. In essence, you took it out on us, but you don't take it out on them. It's kind of how it is, but this wasn't the truth. You know what I mean? We have to remember before Jesus. You have to remember before Jesus, and that's what Jesus brought. Jesus brought that forgiveness for everyone, where you did not have to be persecuted for your sins, but only through his teachings could you be free of them. Without it, dude, you're still going to walk in the guilt, the shame, the blame, the regret, the lies. You're going to walk in all of that, bro. You're going to walk in the damnation of what you've done. Jesus was here to make you know that it's okay. When I fuck up, Jesus, I fucked up, bro. Alright. And it's not even really Jesus I go to. It's usually like Kobe or somebody. But in the essence, we fuck up, bro. And we know better. We come to him and we say, I'm sorry. I know I should have done better. You have a moment if you want to explain yourself and show what you've learned from this situation. It's not like he's going to say no. But, you know what I mean? If you fuck up, there's, not to say a consequence, but there's an outcome, bro. I made a huge mistake. Can you clean this up? We're going to have to let this one play out. Kind of happens, and that's that karma shit, bro. It's like he gave you a choice, you made a choice, and here's the, not consequence, but here's the outcome. For every action is a reaction. You can't take the reaction away from people for how you acted. You can't force them to react differently to you. Your actions are what give people's, you know what I mean, is the reactions you get. And that's how you become self-aware on all of this stuff. But, going back to Adam and Eve, if you did it once, you'll do it again. If I told you not to do something and you didn't listen, then you're going to do this again. I shouldn't have to tell you more than once, was his way. But he realized no matter how many times he told you, you weren't listening. So then, you know what I mean? What was it? Was it God that said it, or was it Jesus that said it to God? Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Jesus came to stand for you, as I do. In a much more compassionate way, obviously, because he was all of that. But that was it. You know what I mean? He prayed for you at the end. He prayed to his God to show mercy upon you for what you had done, because you didn't know what you were truly doing. He understood that in his heart, and he sent that message to God. They don't know. I look at you the same way. We all look at people and we swear to God they know that they're doing. They know they're being an asshole right now. They know what they're doing. They have no idea, bro. And that goes back to why did Russ just, come check out my TikTok, and then I made a video and all of a sudden it's gone. He didn't know what he was doing until I made him very aware of his actions and his behaviors. And then what came? Fear, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. And how many of you done it? You post something and you realize you didn't realize that this was going to affect people so heavily. You're very unaware of your actions. God was sure that, once you ate that apple, you fucking knew what you were doing. So, the evolution of man is the evolution of God. Because in essence, we're created in his image. And as, the new generation, these babies, oh my God, these new, they're popping up everywhere, but there's these great videos of these over-advanced babies. I watched one the other day that was like 3 weeks. The lady had her on her chest. The baby's lifting up, moving its head around, and cooing. At 3 weeks, it's literally doing all that. I'm like, holy shit, that is unreal. Meaning, what? The evolution, like these babies couldn't lift their head for 3 months. They're doing it in 3 weeks? Holy moly. And the essence is, as God evolves, he puts more of that evolved state into his evolved humans. How does he evolve? Through us. We are God. We come here and experience it, and we take it all back to him, our experience, and he learns how to make it a better experience for mankind. He depends on us to make it better for them. Who's them? Us again? That's where you get really mad. He's trying to find out how to create you the best life. Then it stops licking, scratching, or whatever you're doing down there. He's trying to figure out how to create you the best life. So he gives you this life, right? And you fuck it all up. And you come back and, he watches you. He sees where your weaknesses are. He sees where, he sees what you need to work on, what things might work for you, what not. Gives you another life. All right, you're going to get this one right. Didn't really get it right. So he tweaks it out and he gives you another one and another one. He's constantly building this perfect life for you. Who are you? Everyone. But the life is built of challenges. You know what I mean? It's levels to the evolving of himself. He experienced, just like the angels, just like the demons, we experience life through your experience. Only when we put on the skin can we have the human experience. It's only done here. So in essence, yeah, demons, angels, all kinds of beings are incarnated in the form of a human being. Depends on what part of your DNA you tap into. The whole universe is inside of us. Right? The whole universe is inside of us. So you tap into your universal energy and you wear a part of it. This part, although I'm reincarnated, what does that mean? That means this life is going to be the remake of that life. That's what that means. I have to redo the same exact life. Right? But do it better. I don't get a brand new life. But in essence, I have, so my blueprint is the life of Lilith. That was never fulfilled. The contract that was never fulfilled. Now in that, I have all my other lives here to help me fulfill this contract, which is my, you know what I mean? The wisdom of all of my experiences here with me to walk through this version of life. Is where you get to. But you're still having those versions and those experiences and this, that, and the other. But back then, now, you knew you had done wrong by God. And according to the understanding, you just felt that you were cut off from God. Jesus taught you to know that, as I do, that you're not, that God is all over you. He taught you the Holy Spirit. He brought God back into your lives. The church said that we were unworthy of God, and you could only get to God through them, through the old teachings of the tabernacle and Moses and this, that, and the other. Again, when Jesus came and said, no, you don't got to do all that no more, they said, who are you? And they killed him. Now, as much as that story of him coming back changed everything, there were still all of them that refused his story. All the wonders and everything, and they stood back in their religions. They accepted Christ and his changing, but they didn't accept the promise, bro. And it was so simplistic. Accept that he's trying to give you Jesus, or he's trying to give God back in your life, and you don't have to do all these works. They didn't. They couldn't accept this message. They had to be sure. So circumcision had to continue. All of this had to continue, just to be sure. But now they're so sure that if you don't practice the right way in each of these churches, you're not going to heaven. These are all old ways, bro. That's not what Jesus said. Communion, where in the Bible does it tell you to do that every fucking Sunday? It doesn't tell you to do any of this, dude. Somebody told you to do this. That's not what he said. He changed the game, bro. And that's why they killed him, because he was giving people absolute freedom in God that they had never had before, because prior to him, we were cut off from God. We, not really. You. Us, humans. It was only in his words and his teaching that we're not, and how to accept God and how God works and how to recognize God and how to be with God. Where did we find our way back to God? It was through him. And they hated him because they said, no, you can't go back unless you do this life. You don't get to God till after this life, and you must live a holy life, holier than thou, and you shall not see the kingdom of God, because you sinned. He said your sins were forgiven. Every single one. They said, no, we're not forgiving you. Our justice system says no. Your boyfriend, girlfriend, baby daddies, all your exes and enemies say no, you're not forgiven. Christ says, I am. You're not going to persecute me for some shit, a mistake I made. I know I hurt you. I know I fouled this. But every man before me and every man after me will do the same. And only through Christ am I forgiven and I can go home. You shall not tell me I can't when he told me I can. I choose to believe it. You choose not to believe that it's that simple. You choose to believe you have to work hard at this, and only if you live a good life will you possibly, but you have no proof of that possibility. You could have just lived a good life in Christ, instead of working so hard to buy your way into heaven. He said there was no works that would buy you in there. I'm here to elaborate on that message. There is nothing you can do in this life that's going to make God love you more or less. He will never turn from you. He never has. You've turned from God. You can choose to worship him in any way, but you must find your way back to God. He gave you an easy way, bro. It's not. It's not easy because it's against, again, their teachings. The whole world says it's not that easy, and you have to do it their way. You can't be a free spirit like me. You can't do things like me. You can't walk in faith like me. That's not real. She's crazy. Really? God's paying my bills and making miracles happening every day. I'm fully abundant, blessed, and highly favored. I'm biblical. Because I walk in the biblical teachings of this man, bro. Choose it or don't. Choose to receive the message or, reject it. But the message is only going to empower you. And that's what it was, is he empowered. He gave power to the people. And they didn't want that. And that's what I do out here in the name of God. I give all types of power back to people. That's what I do. That's what the goddess did, is we by the gospel of Aradia and all of the magic teachings, prior to, following Jesus. Again, we weren't able to teach Christ's words. Those were his words. But we still had our own teachings that worked along with his words. And that's why Christ was accepted around the world. Because his words were our words. Now, I'm going to read just a little bit more, and I'm going to show you how his words are in every one of these books. Every one of these religions are him. He lives in all religions. They just paint rules around him. And they give him a different name. Watch. Alright, let's see here. Where were we at? Let's see. There's no comparison between the death-dealing sin and the generous life-giving gift. The verdict on one sin was death. Yeah, we already read all that. 5:20 through 20. All that passing laws against sin did was produce more lawbreakers, but sin didn't and doesn't have a chance in competition with the aggressive forgiveness we call grace. Now that's where the church tells you you're not worthy of God's grace or God's mercy. Let me say this again. But sin, any sin you commit, didn't and doesn't have a chance in competing with the aggressive forgiveness that we call grace. When it's sin versus grace, grace wins hands down. All sin can do is threaten us with death, and that's the end of it. Grace, because God is putting everything together again through the Messiah, invites us into life, and life that goes on and on and on, world without end. What did we just read? Chapter 5, 12 through 21. You're forgiven, and they don't want you to know that, and they don't want to forgive you. Because they have power over you when they don't forgive you. Grace wins every time, bro. When someone comes up to me that's got an attitude with me about some shit that done happened in the past, my grace wins over your attitude every time. I'm going to kill you with this kindness, bro. It's going to kill you. You're going to stand there on a hot, sweaty day, blowing steam out your fucking head and throwing your fucking hands in the air and screaming and acting like a maniac. And I'm going to tell you, God loves you. Not, you know what I mean? It's just that, is they want you to think that you're not worthy. That your mistakes, that you'll burn for your mistakes. Some of the shit you did do knowingly, but that too, you can go to God. And again, there's a reaction to your actions, but forgiveness is for you. You got to let it all play out, but the forgiveness, yeah, that's for you, bro. All right, so let's move on to another wonderful one. Sorry. Talked a lot about Buddha. So we're going to read out of the teachings of Buddha. Last week we read, he came into my room, I was being a bad girl, and he told me what a good girl was. What a good girl is. So we're going to pick up wherever that was. It's kind of towards the end of the book. We are on, I don't know. We're on page 454. Something about parents or something. It was this woman that made, she made a, just go catch last Sundays. All right, the true significance of family life is the opportunity it gives for mutual encouragement and aids the path of enlightenment. Even an ordinary woman, if she has the same mind to seek enlightenment and makes the same vows and wishes, may become a great disciple of the Buddha as Malika was. All right, we're moving on. I guess this is, it says in service. Number 1, there are 7 teachings which lead a country to prosperity. First, people should assemble often to discuss political affairs and to provide for national defense. Second, the people of all social classes should meet together in unity to discuss their national affairs. Third, people should respect old customs and not change them unreasonably, and they should also observe the rules of ceremony and maintain justice. Well, I'm seeing this whole Columbus Day thing. Can we talk about it for a minute? It was a holiday that celebrated, in essence, our independence from Britain. You know what I mean? We came over seeking, you know what I mean, some new independence of ourselves. It was meant to be a day of new beginnings, but when we looked deeper into it, it ended up being an ending for, you know what I mean, certain ways of life. So it's kind of like, imagine being part of that family and being so proud to be part of that family. You know what I mean? And then the stories come out, and now you're evil, and you're this and you're that. It's like we did rewrite history. Okay, now here's the thing. I'm seeing it in the Jesus way. It's very serious. This is what happened. They had their way of life before Jesus. And Jesus comes and he teaches a new way of life that threatens their way of life, that takes away all the power of their ancestors, all the hard work that they did to make this way of life, all the obedience it took to walk this way. And here comes some guy saying, nah, you don't got to do that no more. You know what I mean? And you're not going to take away our authority, our power, and our, you know what I mean, our virtues just because you want to tell us a different way. All right? In essence, it's like it's taking away from what really was. Changing history, right? We're not here to change it. We're just here to understand more of it. I mean, in essence, we're going to change it from being part of our future. We erase it. But we don't want to... It's done so often. You know what I mean? Columbus Day became Indigenous People Day, right? We took the power from one and gave it to another. Why? Because we realized that this wasn't a good thing that happened. But in the essence of the day itself, it was a day of celebration to begin with. So now we took the day of celebration and turned it into a day of mourning. Why can't we just honor the truth? Am I against what Trump is trying to reinstate Columbus Day? He's trying to put the story back into play. You know what I mean? Why? Because it was our history. It's a terrible, cold story. But as much as, you know what I mean, our history of what happened to JFK, to Lincoln, you know what I mean, to everyone throughout time, it's our history. You can't just make it go away. You know what I mean? Try to make us a better people than we were. If we don't tell this story and we'll just change the day and not tell this story, and then nobody will know how terrible the Americans really were. Shut up, bro. Quit pretending that we're not that type of people, that we don't seek to conquer and destroy, that we aren't the most powerful because of that intention. Don't take away our story. Don't try to make it better than it is. Don't try to paint God into this fluffy God that didn't sit there and destroy his people. Jesus gave you a better way, but don't forget who God is. And in these end days, you try to say this is the devil. It's not Columbus, it's indigenous people. Wait a minute. That's not the devil, that's God. In the sense of, like, people didn't want us to put statues to our past because our past was embarrassing. It's our past, bro. And even though now our generation is not too proud of that generation changed the mold, bro. They left their homes. They fought against their patriarchies. They sailed the seas to start a new life here. You wanted to completely erase the story because they didn't know how to act when they got here? Well, then let's talk about what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and every time you go to another country, you only put up the prettiest pictures, but we don't tell what you really did over there. That you were sleeping with foreigners. That you were acting a complete fucking fool in their land. You acted like you weren't American. You acted like Americans don't even have any fucking rules or regulations, like we don't even know better. They didn't act like sophisticated fucking British people when they came over here. They came over here with all intentions to fucking conquer and destroy. And yeah, they did. But that's what America's known for, bro. And that's what humans are known for. Listen to the stories, bro. Every culture did. That's how they gained their power. It's taking over the power of another land. We can't just pretend like that didn't happen, bro. Like, we're not those people. That wasn't our family that fought to be those warriors. Those were our ancestors. And yeah, our ancestors were savage, bro, and brutal, and they hurt other people. But what makes them different from you? You are savage and brutal and hurt other people of other races to assert your dominance for a piece of land. Sorry. You want to change the past, right? We want to tell everyone we have this great past so that they won't judge us and say that we were a bad person because of what we were. But this is a great story of how we evolved. We were them. We were cavemen. We were all of these things. And look at us now. How much have you evolved? Look at my teenagers, bro. How far have we come from there? We don't forget where we've come from, though. We don't change the story just so that we don't look bad. Because they didn't look bad. They looked great. They started it, and people from all over the world came from their discoveries. It's a terrible, tragic thing of what they did. But they started humanity. You had to be that type of warrior, you know what I mean? Going into foreign land. You didn't know what you were going to come up against. And it was always self-preservation, and you got laws that protect yourself of that to this day, where you can take another's life in the protection of your own and your possessions. But in essence, they started it. And, our land is built of all kinds of rich culture. Blood, of course, but they all came for the gold rush, especially here in Colorado. It's like to keep kicking out what you say is foreigners, illegal aliens, or immigrants. Kick yourself out, bro. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You don't even know who your ancestors are. We all came from a foreign land to this land to claim it as our own and kick everyone else out. Quit playing around, bro. That's the basis of what we are. What does it mean to be American? That. That's what Americans are. Don't change it. Accept it. You know what I mean? Accept who your parents were. They weren't the best people. But that you're gonna make up for that. You can change that now. We can't change what they did, but we don't have to shame what they did either, because they were doing the best with what they had, and they were being brave, and they were finding a way. And just like you, when you were 13 and making some stupid mistakes in your 20s and shit, and you don't want nobody to know, you were being brave and you were finding a way. Don't persecute yourself for not knowing better, and don't persecute them. How were they going to find a way? You know what I mean? Going to every foreign land. They expected there was no people there. I'm sure at first there was one of two options when you meet a foreign person. You either try to befriend them or you fear them and try to destroy them. These are simple options, people. They weren't very, you know what I mean? They didn't have there's the stories of how they got along together. The pilgrims the pilgrims were welcomed by the natives and shit like that. But, in essence, it's like, we can't play like this. We're going to be, we're not here to be their neighbors. This is our land. And then it became like, nah, this is our land. But it was never anybody's, because when you got there was already people there. And as more people came, it was supposed to be your family and your neighbors and your friends. But that's not how we saw this. When there's new people moving into, down your street or in your neighborhood, you're not friendly with them. Oh, look at the trash that just moved in. Dude, they just earned they worked hard to be here too. Which in essence, they're like you. You don't see them like you, but they can afford to live like you. They live on the same block. That means there's something alike about you. God put you all alike. So, in saying this is like, we have to honor the traditional ways. But we don't have to, our job, our task in evolution is to find a better way. For them, this was the right way. And that's what we're learning about our Constitution and about all of these things. It was perfect back then, but we're an evolved species where it doesn't work for us now. What was supposed to keep us safe is actually a danger to us. You know what I mean? They tried to protect us, and in essence, they made things worse. And that's what I mean. Every one of your actions has a reaction, and it has a trickle in time. This may work right now, but later, this is, when they started making Teflon, pans and shit like that. This was the greatest invention in American history. Yeah, what came later? Cancer. The greatest invention of American history. You can't blame them. Going back to Albert Einstein, he was under the most amazing thing in the world. He was just trying to find how to, No, he wasn't looking to destroy humanity. He was looking to enlighten humanity. So, let me say this real quick and move on here. Fourth, they should recognize, Third, they should respect the old customs and not change them unreasonably, but they should also observe the rules and ceremonies and maintain justice. And that's it. We have to respect our forefathers that put this whole thing into play to keep us safe. But you must understand, it was not going to outstand time. We were going to evolve, and we would need new safety mechanisms. And that's it, being a Nemo. You can't keep your kids locked up like this. You know what I mean? You guys were a different generation that could follow such rules, but we walk in different paths. So it's like maintaining it, but not destroying it. Tell the stories of the old. Mr. Plum, he lives in Hugo, Oklahoma, which is about 30 minutes out of Texas, an hour and a half from where he grew up in Texas. He was part of the integration. He saw Juneteenth. He saw everything. He doesn't like to tell those stories because he knows those were bad times for other people. But it's important. Can we talk about what you saw? And he could tell me how it felt to be outside, to not be with them. He didn't feel like other white men and white women felt about the black communities. He didn't feel it. He just had to stay there and watch it in the in-between. He would tell me, like if there was even more than 5 of them on a corner, a fire truck would roll up and hose them down. A bunch of police would just come and break them up. They weren't allowed to stand together. They found that they were in groups. They were scary to them in groups. They weren't allowed to, be together. They didn't want them to rally together, shit like that. He told me about a lot of that stuff. He's not proud of what he saw, But if he doesn't tell us where we've come, you know, how far we've come, you know what I mean? Mr. Plum is one of those first people in his town that talks to the people you shouldn't talk to. And he gets the ugly looks from people, but they always know that, well, he's just a good person and they forgive him. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's me. Mr. Plum, you can't take me down the street, bro. They're going to judge you. He didn't understand that I was trying to protect him from other people because of the judgment. You know what I mean? And that's it. It's like, they want you to think that's not how they are, but that is how they are. And there's nothing wrong with how they are. It's just how they were raised. This is an old way of life, bro. There's so much good about the South, you know what I mean? Some of that stuff that they have, you know, the culture, some of the old traditional cultures of any culture is so... All I'm seeing is salt. It's filled with so much salt because God said, be the salt of this earth, be the flavor. It's got so much flavor and texture. We don't want to lose all of it just because some of it wasn't good. There's so much more to the South than racism. There's so much more. Yes, the racism is the poison that kills all the rest of the goodness. But if we could push that to the side, it's all good, bro. They're great. They're very kind. They're very jolly. They're very loving. And the racism is just a fear and an old teaching. It's in their nature by their religious teachings to be accepting, loving, and forgiving. But based on, you know, their prejudice of culture and a lack of understanding. They don't let black people move in, so they don't know about black people. They just haven't changed the way. In Hugo, Oklahoma, you have the natives, the Choctaws. They have their own, they go to their own schools, they have their own reservation, they have their own shit. You have the Choctaws. You have, as they say, the colors, the blacks. And then you have, you know, the whites. They all have segregated. The only time you'll really ever catch them crossing paths is at Walmart. They have 2 gas stations. They have the Easy Mart on one side of Jackson that services the white people. They have an Easy Mart on the other side of Jackson that's on the other side of the train tracks that services the minorities. It's fucking true. You have to see it to believe it. And how far are they apart? I've walked from both. I walked from both gas stations. It's really true, dude. The parents take their kids. If you have a white kid, you take them or bus them into another neighborhood. The minorities go to the school, go to Hugo schools. Other kids, you know, the Choctaws and shit have their own schools and shit. It's so very segregated, meaning they don't allow for the integration of new culture. They don't allow for it, bro. It's always just been that way. Nobody changes it. So my daughter, being the white girl that lived in the upper white neighborhood of Hugo, goes to Hugo Middle School, where most of the minorities. She made friends with the minorities, but she couldn't hang out with them. She tried. I could show you the message. The girl told her she couldn't go on that side of town. We don't know why, but the girl said it was unsafe for my daughter to go there. Us on the other side knew that she couldn't come over there because Miss Fry and all these fucked up neighbors will come out and stare at her. And then after she's gone, they're going to come running up to Mr. Plum and ask him who this girl was and get all in her business and start getting on the fucking telephone line and telling everybody about this girl. There was a black girl in Mr. Plum's yard. It's real. You know how real it was? You know what happened? The first time we went down there, that's when it happened, that shooting. Where that old man, the little black boy, knocked on that old man's door and he shot him. We saw it on TV, but then we saw it in real life where we was. You're like, how can that be possible? Come and I'll show you. How can they be like that? It's frozen in time. Their ancestors, bro. They hold the old ways. It's just passed down. It's a way of life. They don't allow for new understandings. It's not even on the surface, bro. They don't cross lines. They're taught as kids not to. So they don't. Be careful, bro. We honor why they've made these lines, because why they make it that way, out of fear, so everyone had their own little place that they could call home. You know what I mean? And that's Mr. Plum. He still believes it, bro. He believes it fully. There's a saying. Okay, so there's low-income housing over there in the black neighborhoods, and it's called Circle G. And he told me, and I said it in the videos, he says, there's a saying, if a white man goes into that circle, he never comes out. Because it's a circle. It's one way in, one way out. They say once you go in there, you don't come out. He's like, Mr. Plum, that's not true. Who do you know that died in that circle? Police don't go over there. They don't go into the neighborhoods. You're like, really? Yeah, bro. They're scared. Still. I went in there. Are they out there with guns and are they out doing... No, they're just people, bro. That's it. They just live in these old fear beliefs, dude. These old systems. That's one town that I witnessed. How many other towns is this really existing, dude? When's the last time you went to a small town and seen how they live? You don't, because you know they're frozen in time. And instead of bringing them up to time, and they don't want to, they really don't want anything to... You know, how do we still have... what are they called? The Amish. Traditional ways. They're not changing. It worked for their ancestors. So this is what we stick to. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, is what the situation is, what it calls for. There's no evolution. There's no growth. There's no change. You're part of a damn nation. A whole nation of the damned. Meaning you're not accepting of anything new. So how can anything good, anything new come into your life when you're not accepting of it? All you're going to get is the old. A bunch of old shit. Alright, fourth, they should recognize the difference of sex and seniority and maintain the purity of families and communities. Fifth, they should be... What is this? LILITH... I don't know. I don't know what this word is. I don't even know how to pronounce it. F-I-L, Phil-I-A-L. Philal? I don't know. To their parents and faithful to their teachers and elders. 6. They should honor their ancestors' shrines and keep up their annual rites. 7. They should esteem public morality, honor virtuous conduct, listen to honorable teachers, and make offerings to them. Well, there's 7 rules. And that's it. Everyone has some really, really basic rules. Damn, we're 47 minutes in. We only got through 2 of these guys. Alright, let's keep on keeping on. We're going to break into some new books I never ever read before. What do Jews believe? What do Jew believe? That was funny. I don't know, maybe they're going to get offended by you. Let's just put you away. Jewish, the only thing I could come with Jewish is Melchizedek, but that's not really, because Melchizedek was more about Jewish mysticism, not the Orthodox teaching, so, but, I mean, sorry if this offends. I'm trying. I don't have a Jewish guy. I don't have a rabbi. Wait a minute. Sorry, that was rude. I do have a Jewish guy. He's like, what are you talking about? I was Jewish. Oh, yeah, that's right. But you didn't preach this crap. Sorry, it's not crap. Alright. It is no surprise that writing an introductory on Jews and Judaism is not an easy task. Yeah, who tasked you with this? I bet it was God. He gives us these impossible tasks. That it has turned out to be so rewarding due to significant numbers of people. I don't want to hear about all this. What does it mean to be a Jew today? Here we go. 2 Jews were once moroned on a desert island and built 3 synagogues. How'd you do that? Sometime later, they were rescued by a ship passing by. On the way home, the captain asked them why they had built the 3 synagogues. Yeah, what are you doing out there? They explained that they had built the first synagogue so that they could pray to God together. They had built the second synagogue, or the second, so that if they argued, they could pray in separate synagogues. Sorry. I'm not praying with you. Do you hear that? I'm not praying with you. Sorry. I can't. This is some petty shit. They're like, what if we don't get along? Let's build another one. But what was the point of the third one, the captain asked. Ah, they explained. We built the third synagogue because we would not go into it. What? Judaism is full of different opinions. In fact, there is no single definition of Judaism that is acceptable to all Jews. Some maintain that Judaism is solely a religion, others that it is a culture. Still, others emphasize nationhood and attachment with the land of Israel. And just as there is a disagreement about definition of Judaism, so there is rarely a single agreed Jew view in any topic. Oh, that's great. Let's just get together and argue. No wonder they had to build different churches. Come on, you guys don't agree with nothing. I mean, you didn't agree with Jesus, so this explains everything. Do you guys know some Jewish people? Do they like to argue? Sorry, I'm funny. I find myself hilarious. I don't know if you do, but that's okay. As a general rule, if you're told that all Jews believe X or Y, you know the person proposing the view is wrong. Oh man, here comes the triangles. It is, however, possible to outline a picture of Judaism which gives some sense of wide variety of views held by Jews. Think of a large family filled with plenty of tension, oh, sounds right, and disagreement. Are we talking about Columbus Day? What are we talking? Which family is this not? But a family whose members also love and support one another. Judaism provides a family with many ways to live and is adaptly described as the way of life. This book will examine the Jewish way of life and expectations of being part of a Jewish family and the tension that arises. It's hard to be Jewish, huh? I mean, I guess it always was. When I woke up, I was like, how am I supposed to do this? I'm not even Jewish or a man. Oh, thank God for that, huh? This book will, This book will examine the Jewish way of life and the expectations of being part of a Jewish family and the tensions that arise. Sometimes these pressures have a result in a crisis of Jewish family and occasionally in violence. Whoa, you guys get violent? So do we. One dramatic example being the murder of the Israeli Prime Minister. Whoa, you guys killed your minister? That's okay, we kill our presidents all the time. We have one that's... They tried to kill him before he became the president. Alright, Yitzhak Rabin, by right-wing Orthodox Jew extremists in 1995. The tension inherent in Judaism included. I don't know, there's a bunch of books here. I don't know. The clearest of the most effective way I found of the conceptualizing Judaism is as follows. Okay, we have a triangle. Focus. Come on. My phone is not focusing. There it goes. We have God. Alright, what does it mean? Alright, or put it in another way. Religion, nation, culture. Okay, there we go with the triangles. Put it together, you get a pentagram. Most Jews can be located in the middle of the triangle, for they possess religious sensibilities, an innate or an intimate familiarity with Jewish culture, and a strong association with the Lord or with the land of Israel. Others are located further from. Hey, did you know that Drake's Jew? He's a Jewish man. Do you go to Israel? Have you been? Anyways, others are located further from the center. At one tip are ultra-Orthodox Jews who oppose the creation of a Jewish state, which in their view should be created by God or gods. Oh, damn, you guys just don't get along, huh? Same with Christians. Anointed the Messiah, and see no place for the culture, except for religious culture and their lives as Jews. Another Jewish group located at the extremity of this triangle are those Israelis, who are both secular and uninterested in Jewish culture, but who identify themselves as Jews in national terms, because of their identification with the state of Israel. Where do you stand on this, Ali Gate? You said you're a Canadian Israelite. What is your religion? Are you Jewish? Do you pray to God? Who do you pray to? You don't even know God. Well, come learn some shit. A third group might define them defined as those who... Well, this can help us to understand that whole fight at the Palestine. Like, what are they fighting over? Culture, land, and religion? Who's fighting who? Jews against Jews? Did you know? How long have they been at this? I mean, you could say for about 4 years now, but really this has been since the beginning of time. Again, try to act like you don't try to overpower people and shit. Such a lie. All right, the third group might be defined as those who understand Judaism, history, culture, ethics, and share experience of Jewish people. Their connection to Judaism is not via religious beliefs or the existence of Jewish state, but rather the combined civilization of extensive Jewish family. All right, this was a bit much. Where do you stand on this? I don't know. I stand with Jesus. I don't know where he stands on this. Judaism, therefore, consists of a religion and a culture and a people. Scholars disagree over the definition of Jewish identity, but do, for the most part, accept that Judaism is a mixture of all three elements. Judaism isn't a religion. It's not only a religion. Judaism represents the land, the culture, and the religion. It represents the people. Interesting. So to say that, I don't know, though. Wouldn't you say if you studied Judaism, wouldn't that mean that you study the religion? Or maybe that just means you study the culture of the land. I don't know. This is interesting. Scholars, let's see. This illustration of the story of a couple with marital problems who visit their local rabbi to seek his help. The rabbi asks each of them to see him individually. The husband enters the rabbi's study and explains his predicament. The rabbi listens sympathetically and says to him, "You are right." The husband leaves. The wife enters the study and explains the problems in their relationship. The rabbi listens carefully, nods his head, and when she finishes, says to her, "You are right." When the rabbi returns home that evening, he tells his wife what happened. I know, you're not going to believe what happened at work today. She turns to him and asks, "How can you tell both of them, or how can they both be right?" The rabbi thinks for a minute and then responds, "You are right." Of course, it is possible to have more than one right answer to a question, but in Judaism, this approach is a commonplace. The Talmud, for example, one of the most important collections of Jewish writings from the 5th century CE, sometimes concludes a discussion with the world, I don't know how to pronounce this word, and it says, "Let the problem stand." Because the rabbis were unable to choose from one number of answers to a problem, so they decided it was better to accept that they could be more than one answer than choose the wrong one. TEQ, or whatever, is an acronym. It stands for Tishba. Oh my gosh, Becky, what is that? Hey, I try real hard to say words. I really do. Okay, this word starts here. What the fuck? You want to try to say that word? Go for it. Or not. I try most of them. I'm not trying to pronounce all those letters in a sentence. Elijah will resolve all of our doubts and questions. The ability to allow for conflict, and they go off the teachers of Elijah. I don't know, bro. Allow for the conflicting position of future of Judaism. In general, hold on, I'm getting a download. I just see a bunch of these people talking. You know what it looks like? It looks like philosophy, bro. And that's how it was. Organized religion wasn't very organized before. It became organized. In the sense of they would come together, I'm seeing, what I mean? That's how it was, like Socrates and all of them. They would all come together, as they said in the Buddhist book, of all walks of life, and that's exactly how the natives would come at the Garden of the Gods. They would all come and would be a representation to the nation and speak. Everyone could be heard, and they could vote on, what was best and what to, just as they said, what to put into the Bibles, what they put in the teachings, stuff like that. They could be, it wasn't one, you're right and you're wrong. What's right for the people? Let's take all of this. Okay, sorry. That's what I was being downloaded in. Where was I? In general, positive to the opposite of truth is falsehood. A Jew might suggest that the opposite of one truth may be another more profound truth. When the Jewish physicist Isadori Rabbi won the Nobel Prize for his research, he was asked how he first became interested in science. He explained that his mother made him a scientist without him knowing it at all. All the other children would come home and their mothers would ask, "What did you learn at school today?" My mother, he said, used to say, "Izzy, did you ask a good question?" Let us begin, therefore, with a question which is more straightforward to an answer than, what does it mean to be a Jew today? Well, I'm going to stop right there. Obviously, they're divided. And it's like they're divided between their land, their people, and their religion. Is what I got. Did you get that? I totally got that. What's the Quran? I don't know. I think this has to do with, I don't know. We're going to read some of it. I don't know, bro. There's a lot I don't know. There are other teachings that I didn't know. Holy moly, they go on forever. Alright, the introduction. I'm just going to read the introduction. The Quran is the book of God. It has preserved its entirety for all time to come. Although written originally in Arabic, it has been made accessible thanks to translations to those who have knowledge of Arabic. While no substitute for the original, translations serve as the signal purpose of spreading the word of God far beyond the Arabic-speaking people to a far broader spectrum of humanity. The Quran is apparently the Arabic language, but in reality it is the language of nature. That is, the language in which God directly addressed all human beings at the time of creation. This divine invocation of humanity is ever present in the conscience of all human beings, and that is why the Quran is universally understandable, to some on the conscious plane and to others on the subconscious level. This reality has been described in the Quran as the clear revelations in the hearts of those who have been given knowledge. This verse goes on to say that none deny our revelations save the wrongdoers. This means the divine reality explained by the Quran on the conscious plane pre-exists in man at a level of the subconscious. The message of the Quran is not, therefore, something which is alien to man. It is in fact a verbal expression of the same divine reality which is in the consonance with man's own nature and with which he is already familiar. The Quran explains this by saying that those born in later times were all initially born at the time of creation of Adam, and at that time God had directly addressed all these human souls. Well, that's what I told you. You're a remake. You were here at the beginning, you're here at the end. This event is thus alluded into the Quran. Prophet, when your Lord brought forth the offspring of the lions to the children of Adam, or the loins of the children of Adam, and made them bear witness without themselves, he said, Am I not your Lord? And they replied, Yes. We bear witness that you are. So you cannot say on the day of resurrection, we were not aware of this. In the following verse, the Quran makes further mention of the dialogue between God and man. Surely we offered our trust to the heavens and the earth and the hills, but they shrank from bearing it and were afraid of it. And man undertook it, but he was proved a tyrant and a fool. The Quran for man is in essence already known to him, rather than an entirely unknown entity. In reality, the Quran is the unfolding of the human mind. When one whose nature is alive, having saved him from later conditioning, reads the Quran, those brain cells will be activated wherein God's first address lies preserved. That's interesting, bro. It's in your DNA. These messages live within your heart. I show you that with all of this. How do you know this? It's inside of me, bro. The inner knowing. I'm just reading. It would appear as I'm reading it for the first time in this life, but I'm activating an inner knowing. And this is what this book says. It says when you're in that element, it's going to reactivate you. And that's kind of it. You know, that's even as simplistic as math. They can keep teaching you math and keep teaching you math and keep teaching you the same fucking math problem, but then finally you get it. And it's like you've always known this. You couldn't get it. Then it's like you've always known this. This is pretty cool. I'm going to stop right after this. If God's address was the first covenant, the Quran is the second covenant. Each testifies to the veracity of the other. Veracy, I guess. If one has little or even no grasp of the Arabic language and can read the scriptures only in translation, he should not anticipate that he will be frustrated in the understandings of the Quran. For the Quranic concept of man as the natural recipient of God's word has become a reality in modern times. The science of the genetic code and the findings of the anthropology both fully support this viewpoint. I'm going to stop right there. That was the introduction. It goes into the creation plan of God. You must understand, think about it. We are our ancestors. Whatever lied with them lies within us and can be accessed if we access it. So if we're thinking about something like this, the people, if we weren't those people, God's first people, right? But we're just another generation, the second covenant, as they say. We still have the first covenant in us. Those people and their ways has been passed down into us. Ultimately, call it something like generational curses. And that's where it is. We all go back to two people. How can there be division? I love, there's specific, no, you're not gonna like this. There's specific black tarot readers that think that their only ancestors are from the black history. Black History Month. You're just wearing black skin in this time, loser. Your ancestors aren't even. Now, going back to the white people that choose to believe that Jesus is white. They weren't that color on that side. Sorry, there's no scripture of this. Sorry. You know what I mean? And that's it, is you want them to look and favor, what your skin. So then God understood that. You kept trying to make them look like you, so he kept making gods for you. And that's where all the different cultural gods came from. I'm going to stop right there. But again, saying that these words live within our hearts, so does the Bible. You may never have heard it before in your life, and that's what I teach people over here. They've never heard the Bible ever, but they live by its codes. And that's most of this. You've never heard this before in this life, but it's inside of you. All wisdom knowledge is inside of you. The teachings of the old were passed down inside of our heart. How did they? Somebody wrote it down in a book, and hopefully we would get it, but they wrote it down in our hearts. The words that Christ said are written in my heart, bro. I couldn't tell you where they are in the book. I don't know why he keeps doing that. And that's it. It's like the words that Kobe spoke. I don't know. Yeah, I can find them on some videos, but they're written in my heart. These things are written in my heart. And once that you open them, that's it. When you get into you, as the Quran just said, into your nature, your natural state. And that's what Jesus said. When you take off this fucking skin and remember who you really are. You can't deny any of these cultures because we all come from them. All of these cultures are an evolution of our people. We spread out real far, our ancestors. Think about it. There was only 2 people. And then there was the 12 tribes of Israel. And then those tribes spread further, and then they built walls, and then they built, they all spoke different tongues. Different dialects. How many of us speak English? Who's got the right English? Who speaks the proper English? I speak it English. You know what I mean? In the essence, we all, we learn to speak the native tongues of all the people. We learn that these people are not different. They're just, their land calls for a different culture, but they are people. We're all brothers and sisters. And that's where we find it. Through what? Through religion. That's why people turn to religion. But when you go into these religious factors, they turn you against the other religions. But as I show you, the one religion brings us all together. I can find nothing in common with you fuckers until I find God in you. You know what I mean? We're not alike until we realize that we're all godly. We're all trying to serve God. We all love God. Otherwise, no. What do you guys have in common? Your stupid success and pursuits of happiness, that your greed, envy, sin. A lot. I already gave you an hour. I left out 2 books. I can't go any further. I'm hungry. We did pretty good though. We read fuck. Did we read the Islamics? Did we read any of this? No, we didn't. I left out 3 books that I didn't get through, but I think we did good. And anytime you read the Bible, that takes about forever. What did we get through? A little bit of the Quran. We're understanding a little bit of Judaism. We read some more about the understandings of Buddhists, which is cultural beliefs. We're going back to their rules. You know what I mean? What they live by, their old teachings. I didn't get into the Kabbalah, but I really teach a lot of this in just my regular teachings. This is the division from Buddhist. It's not from Hindu to Buddhist. They're trying to show you that there wasn't really. It was just a changeover of hands. It's a bunch of essays from, you know what I mean? The 2 different beliefs, but they're still family. Okay? We didn't get into this. We didn't get about the path of God, but I know it was about to be right here because, look, I just left it right here, and it's the creation plan of God, the will of God, the this of God. Everybody's trying to tell you what God wants from you. What does he want from you? Love thy brother Well, treat others like you should be treated, and stop, and don't break those 10 rules. It's simple, dude. And as far as Christ, I mean, that's why they don't want you to take in Christ, because Christ made it too easy for you. That wasn't fair. It wasn't fair, is what they said. It costs more to be close to God. Now, walking Christ's path it costs everything. Is what you don't get. They're not just words, and that's what I show you. He's like, I walk with the spirits. They guide me, and this is what we were meant to do, and this is exactly what it looks like, and no real high favor other than the fact that God favors the fact that you're saving his people. He wants you to be a service to, you know what I mean, to the world. He wants you to be God to his people. You are him. He wants you to honor the fact that he lives within inside of you and treat his people as he would treat them. To be him for, to be God to his people. A good, benevolent God or goddess. That's all he wants. That's what all Jesus was. Jesus, go love my people like show my love. Show me through you to these people. I show you all of God. Not just sides of him you didn't know existed. Which is what the God is. So this was a good one. As much as I'd like to say it's over, it has only just begun. I got part of my work done. We'll have a video later where I'll pull out all of the light cards. We'll go into our light teachings, check our archangels and all of that, and then we'll see where this ends. But it's a heavy Sunday. When I put on this much religion, dude, I don't stop what I'm doing. I just put on more. It just means I can take on more. I can show you more. You know what I mean? But I can only show you so much. I only have so much energy, so much breath, so much time to give you so much God. But there's a never-ending God. You can't get enough of God. I can't give you enough of him. But when will you receive him? When will you drink of this cup? When are you going to take the apple? I'm just quiet. I'm looking at Christ. It's like, he's your way, bro. We can study all of these. Because they're all the, you know what I mean? They're all the way to enlightenment. But when we get back to enlighten and then have to put it back into this ground, you're going to need Jesus, bro. It's not hard to be of the light. It's hard to spread the light in the darkness, bro. It's hard to be Christ-like, bro. It's hard to be God to these people that, you know what I mean, reject you and are, you don't say evil, but just are so unhealed. He wants you to be the healer to the unhealed. And only Jesus can teach you that. And that's where I'd be like, help me, Jesus! I'm going to lose it with them. I am going to lose it with them. He teaches you, because he did it with them before we ever faced them, bro. He teaches you how to deal with them. All of them are going to teach you how to deal with you. But when we get back out there, dude, and we've got to put it in the ground, and we got to walk up to people, we got to be him. It's hard as fuck to be kind to people that are ignorant and negative and annoying. What is it? Dude, that's totally how it used to. Where? On the mobile app? Stop with the apps. You're annoying me. I don't want McDonald's. So it's $29 double cheeseburger. I don't want it for $1.29 or $2.29 or $29. I don't want a double cheeseburger. Sorry, my kid's annoying me. He's doing that to me yesterday. He was like, Mom, they're having this, that, and the other. I was like, I don't want it. Stop advertising to me some shit. Just seriously. That's where it is he teaches you how to harness it all in the flesh and walk it off. They tell you, but they don't show you. He showed you. Buddha, no offense, Buddha, but all of them were in a temple. Templetons. They all lived in great places. Jesus was on the ground. He was walking it, dude. In his Lamborghinis. He didn't have no bag of gold or no bag of food or no water or nothing. He had to get out there and take all this spirituality and spread it to the world. And with full kindness and trust and understanding that all his needs would be met. He could walk out there and do God's job, and God will do all the rest of the work. It's not all about just becoming spiritual and living in a happy temple of your own creation, your sacred space. If you find a way to happiness, you owe it to mankind to teach them how to become happy too. Because you know they're not. It's not something that you should hold to yourself. Because if you're a really good person, you want to share that happiness with others. And realistically, that shows you why there's no, you know what I mean? Nobody's really happy. Because if they had the blueprint, they wouldn't mind sharing it with you. You know what I mean? But instead, everybody's looking for happiness. And once they find it, they don't want to share it. Because, it's theirs. That's not good shit. And that's how you show that they're not happy. My biggest weakness is when things are good and I have no one to share them with. You know? So Jesus is he's a real big key factor in us walking the land. All of this is, it teaches, and we're going to go through it all, but I got to tell you, bro. Throughout the day, it's him I turn most to. It's like, help me, bro. Help me be kind. Help me, Jesus. Help me. Help me. Help me. Help me. Does he help me? No, but putting my eyes on him, it reminds me of what he went through and how he got through it. If you can do it, I can do it. If you can do it, I can do it. Which I'm not saying I'm Jesus, but he shows you it can be done and how to do it. That's the, you know what I mean? That's the example. It can be done. You can take people's persecutions and still have a good life. You can be poor and still be wealthy. You can be all alone and still have all the, all the love and family of everyone else. You can be all alone with God and still have all of the world to yourself. You can have such things, but only in understanding him and the message that God sent, through him to you. And accept it. It's up to you. I'm going to always encourage you. I'm not trying to turn you into Christian. We're trying to be Christ-like, bro. We want that Christ consciousness. We want to be able to think like he did. Because he thought only good things about people, bro. He only saw the good. Not that he didn't see the bad, but it didn't hurt him, and he wouldn't let it hurt others. He could find a way to see his way out of it. Through God. He could find God in all things, and that's what it is. There's no such thing as the devil, guys. Hardships are just, the ships we sail. Let's just ride the waves, you know what I mean? Like Columbus, I guess. Did Columbus actually kill anyone? No. Why did we give him that date? Because it was him that sailed the boat to a new beginning. One bad apple ruins the orchard. I don't know. I don't know the full history. Maybe he's out fucking, chopping heads and shit. He didn't come here with that intention. He came to America for freedom for his people. And, going back to it, it's like, you're so proud to be Americans, but you're not. And no more are you Africans or Asians or any of that. You're not going to like this. We all come from over there. We all come from over there. This was just a new land that you swear that you're all about. You set claims to the land that it's not yours. It's not even in your culture to say it's yours. You come from a long line of immigrants. Illegal aliens is what Trump would call you. You're naturalized is what that means. You were born in this country, so you have natural rights to this country. Right? But your roots are from where? We all come from the same garden. And you forget where home is, and your family, which is everyone. We come from the Middle East. All of us do. That part of the, of the desert lands that nobody wants to, that everyone persecutes and sets on fire and talks all that shit. That's where we come from. Those are our people. And all of them that spread from there on, they're all our people, bro. We came from two people. We need to start recognizing that everybody else did too and start having love for our people. It doesn't matter what God they pray to, what skin they wear, what food they eat. They're our brothers and sisters in Christ. They don't really act like it, but, only through Christ can you understand that. And only through his teachings and then some of like Buddhists and stuff can you be open enough to sit at the table with these people in open arms. Can we talk about Christmas real quick? Christmas is a big deal in America. I don't know if it is everywhere, but it's all about gift giving and joyfulness and happiness and receiving and good food and great things and lights. What about all of the poor countries that don't study Christ? They see us as, this is this Hollywood holiday that everybody gets they get brand new cars and they get diamond rings in America and they get all these wonderful things for studying Christ in America. If I was a Christian, I could have all these things. God would give me all these things. What about the Christians in poor lands across the world that don't do such things? That don't honor Christ like that? That don't have things to give like that? Not trees, not food, not presents. Are they any less Christ-like? Or do we make it look real bad? We made a holiday that the rest of the world just sits and idolizes. That we get to, we have money and we can buy great things for everyone. Trees, and we have hams and turkeys and everybody dresses up and it's all beautiful. But here in America, us that don't have it, we're suicidal. It's the most painful fucking holiday that ever existed, next to Valentine's Day. And we send on these radio waves in our pictures and our posts that it's a beautiful holiday. And we send this picture across the world that this is what Christ looks like. This is how you honor Christ. This is how we honor Christ. This is what this season is all about. Do we make them long for a God that isn't real? Do we make them idolize a life that isn't real? Does any of this have to do with Christ when the Christmas season comes? Or Easter? They don't read the same books. They don't understand why the fuck are we dressing up and doing Easter egg hunts and having ham and doing all this stuff on the day he was, we hung him. They don't understand how we can, like, I'm not really quite sure what we're doing. Christmas, Christ Mass in America is depicted as an all-you-can-eat buffet, a material gain. There's no Christ in it. And people all over the world thinks that that's what Christians do. That's what it means to be Christ-like. Those that study Christ and are Christians celebrate Christmas. The Jewish have theirs, and they give a gift. But were they forced into this gift-giving shit? Jesus was the gift. And now we turn around and try to gift others as power and all of that. We take away the gift he was and try to give other gifts. Try to make ourselves powerful by the gifts we give and all of this bullshit. None of that is about Christ. It's a store-bought holiday that we say is all about a savior. But it's nothing but greed and damnation. It's not true. And if you're not part of it, if you don't have a tree, and you don't have a family, and nobody's buying you anything, then you feel completely unloved, unimportant, all alone in this world. On a day that we're supposed to celebrate a savior, you make us feel like we're alone. You hang us on the cross. And then you do it on fucking Valentine's Day. Oh, if you ain't got a boo and you're not in love and somebody's not purchasing you nice things, then you're not shit. I am the most the most God-honoring woman that I know in this world. And Christmas was so painful for me last year. He told me this wasn't what it was about, but my brain couldn't. It hurt my very existence to not be part of Christmas and to know that, have God pull me away from what my tradition was. But that tradition was false, and it was painful, and it's a lie, and it causes all kinds of discord. It was fucking painful not to have a Christmas. I'll never do that again to make people think they have to have Christ that way. That's not Christ-like. None of that season is Christ-like, bro. Don't get it fucked up, bro. Who created this? I don't know. It goes way back in history, and that's where it is we can't completely eliminate it because it did bring joy and happiness to people. But then you lie to your children and say there's some dude named Santa Claus breaking into your house and making all their dreams come true. Then they get to a certain age and they realize you're a big fat fucking liar. You lied about this whole thing. You made this whole thing fake for them. None of this has anything to do with God. It's called Christ Mass. The masses of Christ, but that's not what's happening. That's not what they do in other countries. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They don't honor Christ like that. That's not honorable to Christ. And no teachings are you going to find it. Those are church teachings. Never did he pass around the plate. If anything, they were worried there wasn't enough, but keep passing it. It'll be enough, and there'll be leftovers. He didn't collect. He gave. Christmas is supposed to be a giving heart, but you only give to those that you give to all year. You only give to your family, to your friends, to your neighbors, to your coworkers. You forget about everyone else that needs a giving hand, a helping hand. God gave us his son to make us, you know what I mean, to make us better people. You're giving out, you know what I mean, what, iPads, fucking phones, blankets, fucking, you know, all kinds of great shit. For what? To make them better people? You're making them shit-ass people. You're spoiling them. And you only do it to those closest to you who don't, you know what I mean? You don't even care about those that have never had. You're not giving. You're controlling. I was a devout Christian before I started. I'll always be a devout Christian. But I don't stick to the orthodox ways anymore because I realize that they're flawed. They leave out too many. They create this division between too many. It's not. Jesus was about all. It wasn't exclusive. It was for anybody. And you know, Christmas, that should be for all. Christ was for all. You created this, dude. You created this hurt upon people, and you stand by it. You make people feel like less because they don't have what you have. You keep these traditions going. Us that had a child, you know, a troubled childhood is because we were made to believe we didn't have enough. Who made us believe that? Who's doing it now? Who is currently on the platforms making people covet their lives? Showing off all the time what they have and you don't. Extremely ungodly. Hey, catch you guys later. I love yous. Bye.